Professional wrestling is the one true sport. Other sports have their share of intense, dramatic moments, but nothing can compare with professional wrestling. Welcome to Wrestling History X, where three friends come together to talk about the stories behind the matches. I'm Matt.
I'm a broke gimp.
And I am the hound in the pound, and I'm here to get down.
I didn't want to say the first word. Well, I edited myself. I took my name from a sign.
Oh.
It was the R word for mentally handicapped people.
Oh.
I know we curse on here, but I don't want to look like a jerk.
That's not a word we need to say.
We don't need to drop any hard R's.
Most curse words I don't care about, but there's a few words that I'm just like...
it's a wrestling show.
There's another F word we won't ever say.
No. You save those for your friends when you're bowling. Playing couch games. You don't say those outside your home.
Welcome to episode 327, Halloween Havoc, 1998.
The night when good battles evil.
Ooh.
Uh-huh.
Is this actually one of the better taglines that WCW's actually had?
It is, but it's not great still. But it is better.
No, it's not great.
Also, is like I guess there's. It seems like everything is NWO. I guess it's like 3/4 of the rosters. Like, I guess Wolfpack is the good version, but they're still NWO. I don't know.
They are considered the good half of the NWO, I guess.
Yeah, like they're the ones. Yeah, they're the less.
They are being cheered.
Yeah.
They got Sting.
I mean, yeah, they do have Sting.
You can't boo Sting.
So this is the 10th annual Halloween Havoc, produced by WCW. It took place on October 25th, 1998, from the MGM Grand Garden Arena in Paradise, Nevada, with an attendance of 10,663 people.
Is that like sold out?
Probably. I think the Garden Arena is not a huge facility by any means.
Yeah, I was just curious because like we've seen like 16,000 at like a Nitro, so but this didn't look like. Also, they wouldn't be shooting the top if it was empty.
Yeah,
but I don't think it was.
A 90s hotel arena. That sounds about right for a sold out show.
I think this I don't know. I'm not positive. Might be the first appearance of. I'm obsessed with the way Eric Bischoff talks about it, but the cat's butthole logo, when like the crazy one that's like the WCW logo, because the poster has that second logo on it.
It does it?
Yeah, that new one. I noticed
I don't remember it.
Yeah, and that's maybe the only interesting thing funny thing I've ever heard Eric Bischoff say was that he hated that logo because it looks like a cat's butthole.
I gotta look now.
You remember the logo though, right? It's really bad.
Oh, it is on the poster.
Yeah.
Let's see.
It's the new one.
Okay.
It's a great
I think
description.
I don't even feel like that Havoc is the same Havoc as
previous years. But that WCW
as what was on the screen. Who knows?
I don't know. I've just always been obsessed with how terrible that logo is, and this was the first time I saw it on one of the posters for the shows.
Previous year's poster just to see what it looks like.
I didn't mean to derail us, but it's just one of those things where I'm like, how do you fuck this up that bad?
Yeah,
but we are in Paradise, Nevada.
We are.
So Shane, did you do what you do?
Boy, did I ever. We are back in Paradise, in Vegas, in Nevada, for the good old Halloween Havoc here. So I did what I do, where I got on the old Google machine and I typed in what are some popular foods that came from Vegas. And I stumbled upon a list on delish.com, the 15 foods you must eat in Las Vegas. And it says number 2, but it's the first thing that they show. So it's from a place called Dirt Dogs. It says on here, Dirt Dog chefs didn't choose the hot Cheeto life, it chose them. After customers repeatedly asked for dishes with the spicy cheese puffs on them, Dirt Dog created the twist on Mexican street corn, A grilled ear covered in butter, lime mayo sauce, crushed hot Cheetos, melted cheese, and cilantro. I've seen these at a bunch of different places, and I just happened to, when I stumbled upon this list, I was going out with some friends for lunch today, and we went to a place here in Oklahoma City, and boom, there it was on the menu. Hot Cheeto style Mexican street corn. This one has a little different take on it, from a place called Dolce Vida Tacos and Tequila. Nice, bright, festive place. Lots of awesome drinks. A good variety on the menu. But this is their Mexican street corn, just done up the spicy hot Cheeto way with lime mayonnaise, the spicy Cheetos, butter. It doesn't have cilantro or melted cheese on it, but that could be an easy addition on there. But yeah, I've never had the hot Cheeto street corn before. I've had different variations of hot Cheeto stuff. There's one place that's in our company. It's called Mexican Radio here in Oklahoma City. At one time, they had a special where they did a hot chicken or a hot Cheeto chicken taco. It was super tasty. But I'm gonna do what I do, and I'm gonna take a bite on the microphone here. It's, I doubt, gonna make any noise because it's a freaking corn on the cob. But who knows? Maybe you'll hear something from the actual corn.
It's squishy.
If you get close
Squish.
enough.
Well, you know that I like to do that. So here we go. 1, 2, 3. There we go.
Well, that was actually
Some crunch.
better crunch than I thought you were going to.
We got Shane's a Foley artist over here.
The sweetness, the spicy, even the mayo. I think I'd add a little bit of tahini or something to it just to give it a little more zing.
The cilantro would have been nice, but I'm a sucker for cilantro.
Yes.
I've never done the hot Cheeto thing because I'm not a spicy food person and whatnot.
I like spicy. I think hot Cheetos taste fucking like puke.
I didn't get any heat off of this at all.
I think the mayo killed the
Yeah.
heat, but I don't think this tasted bad. But like a regular bag of hot Cheetos, I think is, the flavor wise, is gross.
Yes.
The heat doesn't bother me. I think the flavor is bad. So I was surprised that here, like, the flavor was not bad. The corn and the mayo got rid of that.
Yep.
I mean, this is gross, but to me, hot Cheetos, the aftertaste is like after you vomited. I just think that the flavor is bad.
And see, the only thing I really associate hot Cheetos with is years ago, Memo is the one who said this, that it was when Cardi B first came out and he was reading something. He said, Cardi B is for girls who eat hot Cheetos for breakfast. It's like, that makes so much sense. But yeah.
It also makes me think of
Hot Cheeto Mexican street corn.
Gerard Carmichael joke.
Well, something that would happen right around the same time as Havoc. A trio of films would hit theaters. Life is Beautiful, Pleasantville, and Orgasmo.
Oh, Pleasantville.
Life is Beautiful is the Holocaust movie, right?
Yeah, the Roberto Benigni.
Yeah.
Benigni.
I've never seen that.
It's possibly the worst movie to ever win the Academy Award.
I imagine it's very...
Well, thankfully it didn't win Best Picture overall. It just won Best Foreign Picture and Best Actor.
I thought it did win Best Picture.
He was nominated for Best Picture.
And everyone, I think it was like
It was
what people thought was going to win.
Yes.
Is it? My assumption is that did they think it was going to win because of Schindler's List?
I mean, it's an Oscar bait kind of.
But yeah, Schindler's List wouldn't call Oscar bait. But this one is like very treacly, right? A little Oscar baity, I guess.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Yeah, just a little too.
I mean,
yeah.
it's Schindler's List. It's Pianist. Like, it's right there in
those, but it's not
in those.
But it's not the one that's looked on upon as fondly in hindsight. Like, right? People are still,
because it's Roberto Benigni.
It gets a little cheesy.
They try and play a little bit of a romantic comedy in the middle of all of it, and it's just like, whoa, what are we doing?
Yeah, this was the year that the Oscars were just like, what the fuck is happening here? Because that was the year that Saving Private Ryan was projected to be the big winner, and then it went to Shakespeare in Love, which I was totally fine with because I loved Shakespeare in Love. But then you had Roberto Benigni up for Best Actor against Tom Hanks, Ian McKellen for Gods and Monsters, Nick Nolte for Affliction, and Edward fucking Norton for American History X. And then Roberto Benigni wins it for this like happy-go-lucky Holocaust character.
When you said American History X, I first heard American Psycho. I was like, well, American Psycho fucking rules. That's a great performance. But
yeah, it won Best Actor. It won Best Foreign Language Film, and then it also won Best Music, I think.
Is it worth the watch?
I've never actually watched it because
is it just kind of like boomer shit?
I mean, I would watch Schindler's List or Pianist before I ever watch Life is Beautiful again.
So you're saying it's not as affecting as those movies?
No, like
it's kind of a softball pitch as far as the heavy subject matter goes.
I mean, like I said, they throw a romantic comedy kind of in the middle of this Holocaust story. That's so it's not as dark and dreary,
but it's inappropriate.
But it just doesn't feel like the right place for that kind of
Yeah, you know it does rule. At least I watched it a million times on television. Pleasantville.
I mean, it's pretty pleasant.
I assume it holds up.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I saw it like 20 times. It was on TV constantly, like on HBO or some shit. And if it was on, then no matter who was in the living room in my house, if that was on, like typically the channel change and stopped.
Yeah, Pleasantville. I mean, that's where I'm trying to remember if that's the first place that I saw Paul Walker or if it was Meet the Deedles. It may have been Meet the Deedles.
Paul Walker is in that.
Yeah, Paul Walker was
That might be his best role because he's such a handsome blank of a guy. No disrespect, but he's just kind of good at being a white American sheet of paper.
Yeah.
And in Pleasantville, that's exactly what he should be doing.
Yeah, Pleasantville, I mean, the cast itself, Tobey Maguire, Reese Witherspoon, William H. Macy, Joan Allen, fucking J.T. Walsh was phenomenal. Jane Kaczmarek, the mom from Malcolm in the Middle. Who else?
Yeah, what else
is
has
in
that
it?
lady been in? She's so good in Malcolm in the Middle.
I mean, she was... I always get her confused. I had to stop myself there with the mom from Big, but...
She was good in a show that was on for a long time, so...
She's married to Bradley Whitford. Or at least she was, I guess. I guess they've been divorced now for 15 years, but... Let's see... The Heavenly Kid. I remember watching that with her in it. She was, I mean, early 20s back then. This was back in 1985. That's the main thing I remember her. Don Knotts was in this.
Who directed Pleasantville?
Yeah.
Gary Ross.
What else is Gary Ross done? I don't know Gary Ross.
Let's see here. Hunger Games, Seabiscuit, Big. Oh, he wrote Big.
I was say Big is Penny Marshall.
Directing.
Well, that's why there's the
directing is
connection.
Ocean's 8, The Hunger Games, Seabiscuit, and Pleasantville, and Free State of Jones because everyone knows that one.
Dave.
Yeah, we never saw Seabiscuit.
Seabiscuit. That's all right.
I saw I think maybe the first one.
He's
or
definitely
two
a
Hunger
more
Games
pronounced
movies.
writer.
Okay.
Obviously, he did Big, Mr. Baseball, Dave, the Lassie movies. He wrote the first Hunger Games. I mean, I guess the last movies he directed, all the movies he directed, he wrote as well.
Yeah.
But he had a little bit of cachet from
Big.
writing those.
Yeah. 4-time
First
Oscar
ones.
nominee for writing Big, Dave, and Seabiscuit, and then
I've never
Best
seen
Picture.
Dave. I've always heard good things about Dave.
Dave's fun. Have you seen American President? Because it's another one of those like Armageddon,
Yeah, Deep Impact.
Deep
I had to think.
type movies where it's Dave.
It's like I was like, what the hell does Armageddon have to do with
Where it was,
Dave?
it was two movies that came out like relatively close to each other about the president.
Yeah.
I've seen Dick.
I've seen Fun with Dick and Jane.
Dick with old Kirsten. What's her
Kirsten
face?
Dunst.
There we go.
And Michelle Williams.
Yes.
I've seen that movie. And Dan Hedaya plays Nixon. But yeah, just thinking of President.
Pleasantville, like
You get sucked into a 1950s TV show.
the ingenuity, I guess is the word that I want to use, of how they shot it and how they use the camera work to help tell the part of the story.
Yeah.
It's a great looking movie and a
it's
very
very
easy
interesting.
watch.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it connects with a lot of audiences because even with the simplicity of the storytelling that they have in it, it hits real life issues as far as people in black and white on TV who are suddenly being shown in color and people that are still in black and white treating them as if they are a different race or that there's something wrong with them. because they are different than what they're used to.
It's one of those things that, like, on paper, you could be like, how the fuck is this going to work? This seems stupid as shit. And then the way that it's pulled off is like, yeah, it could have easily been a dog shit movie.
Yeah.
It's all, the way that it looks and is directed makes all the difference.
So, like, when Pleasantville first came out, I was expecting it to have a very similar feel to it as called from the early 90s, Stay Tuned, where it's, I want to say John Ritter is in it.
I think
they're like
Problem Child.
No,
I'm kidding.
This one is where they're like sucked into the TV.
They were sucked into the TV and like all the
into
channels.
The programs.
Anytime someone changed the channel at home, they got turned to a different channel. And that John Ritter and
who else was in it?
Pam Dauber were
okay,
and Jeffrey Jones was the. Yeah, it was a
ultimate.
It was a cable classic.
Damn, I've never seen that one.
Yeah.
It also seems like one of those things where it's like great idea on paper, but incredibly hard to pull off well. And
we have
they
those
probably
three
didn't
names
do
in
it.
there: John Ritter, Pam Dauber, and Jeffrey Jones. That's a true '80s gem right there.
Yeah, it's an '80s, early '90s cast for sure.
And then what was the other one?
Orgasmo.
That's right.
Did you know about Chota
My
Boy?
favorite.
If you like it more than Pleasantville?
Well, yes, I like it better than all of these, but also it's my favorite Trey Parker, Matt Stone movie as well.
Oh yeah,
I don't
know. Team America is really fucking
literally
funny.
This movie just completely cracks me up every time.
Yeah, I mean,
I think it's just because it's just so, I don't want to say perverse, but like it goes against the culture of what they're in, because it's a Mormon dude that becomes a porn star.
Yeah. It's like, the fact that it's the fish out of water, but it's like you throw them straight into the middle of the ocean.
Yeah.
Or straight into the desert, I guess, if he's a fish. But yeah, it's a fish out of water, but it's like the furthest from. It's not just. It is funny, but I don't think it's my favorite of their movies. But I think I've only seen Orgasmo one time.
And see, it's been a long time since I've watched it, so I can't remember too much about it.
I've seen Cannibal the Musical more than I've seen Orgasmo.
I've never seen Cannibal the Musical.
In my mind, I was trying to remember if Orgasmo was a musical.
No.
Yeah,
No,
it's
no.
Cannibal. That's
Cannibal the Musical. My friends and I watched a lot in high school. I don't know that it's good, but it has its moments to the point where we would quote stupid shit out of it. But it's definitely even more low budget than Orgasmo.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because it is a trauma movie. And also it like mostly takes place in the woods, which any movie that takes place in the woods that's like not The Revenant typically is because they don't have any money. Like look at just about any horror sequel in the woods or horror movie that takes place in the woods.
I mean, the biggest knock on Orgasmo when it came out was that it was NC-17, even though there's literally no nudity in the movie.
Oh yeah, it's just from language, kind of like
it's very suggestive because obviously they're doing porn, but there is no nudity in the movie.
Isn't that like with Sexy Beast as well? They just said fuck like 170 times, so they're like, we're just gonna make it NC-17. Yeah. Granted, that movie also has violence in it, but yeah.
And you got old Dirk Diggler the year before that shows full frontal and all kinds of sex in the porn industry, and it was just rated R.
Yeah, which is, I guess the difference would be is that people would consider that movie artistic. Not that Orgasmo isn't, but it's of a lower tier, like as far as like craft and intention goes. I
definitely say if you have the chance to watch any of these movies, probably should.
Yes,
they're worth a watch. You're going to get varying levels of enjoyment from them, but they are definitely worth a watch.
I'll definitely have to knock The Pianist off of my list before I watch Life is Beautiful.
Finish it up with The Brutalist.
Yeah.
You mean Pianist too?
Yes.
Well, let's talk some Halloween Havoc. Video package starts with opera singing as an image of the warrior rises from the bottom of the screen while Hollywood Hogan looks shocked, followed by clips of the Ultimate One's antics, including appearing in Hollywood's mirror. We also see the Disciple has joined the One Warrior Nation before clips of other competitors on the show. And Tony Schiavone welcomes us, joined by Mike Tenay and Bobby the Brain Heenan, as pyro explodes around a giant gargoyle which looms over a large pumpkin.
Basically, a bouncy house.
Yes,
that you
big,
can't
giant
bounce in.
inflatable thing that you got to walk around.
Yeah.
They then discuss the two main events. Is Hogan the lowest form of life in WCW?
I'd like to think so.
The brain agrees with you. While Mike wonders if Goldberg can continue his streak. When Heenan dons a mask to scare Tony, only for Shivani to snap it against his face. Fun little moment there.
Yeah, it was cute.
The Nitro Girls then dance in the ring, while Tony runs down the entire card, followed by going to Mean Gene Okerlund.
Have we had the Nitro Girls on pay-per-view?
They've never been on pay-per-view.
Yeah.
That's why they're the Nitro Girls.
I know. I was like, what are we doing here? We're on a pay-per-view. And I saw the runtime of this pay-per-view, so I was annoyed that we were wasting our time with the Nitro Girls, as attractive as they may be.
Still dancing as badly as ever.
I mean...
Thank you, Kimberly.
Yeah, they're not there for any other reason that the fan base is mostly male.
And Mean Gene calls out Rick Steiner. And the dog-faced gremlin yells, "The Hound and the Pound, and I'm gonna get down." When Buff Bagwell interrupts, saying he's had a change of heart in recent weeks, and that everyone is sick of Big Poppa Pump. Buff continues that the NWO doesn't work one-on-one, so he offers his services as Rick's cornerman, which has Steiner concerned, not knowing if he can trust Bagwell. But Buff reassures Rick that he's ready to smack Scott if he needs to. Bagwell starts barking, so Steiner shakes his hand, and they bark their way to the back.
Come on, Rick. I know your character's always been kind of, or at least early on, was kind of a dumb, crazy guy, but you're too old to be making mistakes like this. That was my thought. I was like, what are we doing here? Don't make one of my favorite wrestlers look like a fool.
Again.
Yeah, I mean, it's happened enough.
So we go to our first match. Raven versus Chris Jericho for the WCW Television Championship.
Jericho seems to be, by crowd reaction, more over than, he's just inching up every week.
Yep, breaking walls down.
And Tony says this is a special added match to the card.
Ooh.
When the Tormented Soul takes the mic to say he's been on a losing streak lately. Then no one informed him of this encounter ahead of time, and he doesn't feel like wrestling. So Raven rolls out and starts to walk to the back.
What about me?
Yeah, like the wet towel human he is.
Mm-hmm.
Chris then grabs the mic to say he doesn't want to be there either. But his Jericho-holics need to see him wrestle. As Chris equals buy rates, butts in seats, and rock and roll.
Go, baby.
His old man obsession with rock and roll. Just be quiet.
It was the 90s, man.
No, I mean, like, even today. He's just always talking about Judas Priest. It's like, we all agree Judas Priest is cool. But
Loved him so much he wrote a song about it.
it's just corny to be an old rock guy. It's like, yeah, everybody likes music, man.
Jericho then calls the Tormented Soul a loser, claiming he can beat him in seconds. Which goads Raven back to the ring, where Chris jumps him, ripping the jacket off and whipping the Tormented Soul with it. And Jericho telegraphs a move, leading to Raven kicking him away, before a clothesline that takes them both to the floor, where the Tormented Soul sets the ring steps on their side to front suplex Chris onto them, followed by vaulting off the steel into a dropkick. Now back in the ring, Jericho hotshots Raven, causing him to roll to the apron, only for Chris to then hit a springboard dropkick to send the Tormented Soul crashing into the railing. And Jericho looks to leap off the apron with a double axe handle, but Raven sidesteps, sending Chris into the guardrail head first. The Tormented Soul continues by slamming Jericho head first into the steel steps, only for Chris to reverse a whip, sending Raven hard into the railing. And they make their way back inside, where the Tormented Soul rakes the eyes and chokes with his flannel shirt, before locking on a sleeper, which Jericho escapes with a back suplex and a senton. Chris then removes a turnbuckle pad in a corner, followed by attempting a whip. But Raven reverses to boomerang Jericho into a padded corner, so Chris just charges out for a Hurricanrana, only for the Tormented Soul to catch and powerbomb Jericho down.
Damn.
Raven then catapults Jericho into the exposed turnbuckle, before nailing a clothesline for a 2 count. Tormented Soul then goes for a back body drop, but Chris floats over and attempts a spinning heel kick, only for Raven to duck and take down Jericho with a belly-to-belly suplex for a near fall. And they fight over a waistlock when Chris rolls through to lock in the Lion Tamer, with the Tormented Soul crawling his way to the ropes to break the hold. And Jericho starts throwing a fit, allowing Raven to recover and nail an even flow DDT for the pin. And no, Chris kicks out. The Tormented Soul is up to his feet first, so Jericho cradles him up for a 2 count, followed by checking on his eggs and hitting a bridging German suplex for a near fall. Now Kanyon has made his way to ringside and climbs to the apron just as Raven reverses a whip to send Chris into him. And the Tormented Soul grabs the dazed Jericho for another even flow DDT. But Chris counters into a double leg takedown, applying the Lion Tamer for the submission and the win.
Woo.
I mean,
It's not Raven's rules.
yeah, thankfully not Raven's rules, and it was not a bad way to start the pay-per-view.
No.
We got Raven to do a little bit of wrestling.
Especially for being a match that was just thrown together like that. Added last minute.
Who knows how true that is?
Hollywood Hogan and Eric Bischoff then make their way out to the stage area. And they have a love fest, giving each other compliments, before Hollywood threatens to be long-winded. But the simple facts are that the NWOites worship him. Hogan then brags about crucifying his own family, Horace, leaving him lying in a pool of blood because he isn't worthy to join the NWO, as we see highlights of this beatdown from this past week's Nitro.
Have we seen Horace before?
Yes.
Yes, he was actually in Raven's flock.
Oh, yeah.
He was the guy with the sign that came down a couple times.
Right.
Sign guy. Block.
Sign got Horace.
Not Lodi,
The other one.
the metal steel sign.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hollywood continues that he went too far, making an example, but he drew the line for what it takes to be in the NWO, before turning his attention to the Warrior, saying he will know what Hogan is all about after tonight. Because when you question my power, you cross the line into this world, and you get beat up real bad. Faux life.
No, don't beat me up real bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was interminable.
As most of his promos are at this point.
Yep. But, he's Hulk Hogan. Apparently he can do no wrong. Even when he's sucking the life out of the entire company.
So we go to our second match. Wrath versus Meng. And the story behind this match was that both men had been running roughshod over anyone in their path when they finally took notice of each other. The Tongan would remain in the ring after his match to beat down Wrath's opponent, so they confronted each other and brawled. They would then have other confrontations over the next few weeks that would lead to this match.
Welcome back, Wrath.
Yep. It's been a while.
And we haven't seen Wrath since World War III 97, episode 282, and Meng since Road Wild 98, episode 316.
And, poor guy also. He's still stuck with the Wrath name when his Mortis counterpart has been able to drop his.
Yeah. I mean, Kanyon also seems like it's just another fake one word name, but is it his real name?
It's
like
the
Chris
Raven effect.
Kanyon?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's his real name.
Yeah, but like Chris Canyon's like that's a guy. It was like this guy's name is Kanyon. Like it's much better than being Mortis and having to dress up like you're in Guar.
Christopher Morgan Kluxaritz or something like that.
Yeah,
Klucsarits.
Yeah, I'd go by Chris Kanyon as well.
Nobody better.
Chrissy Clucks. His
Poor
chicken gimmick.
So Wrath arrives and wants to get into the ring, but the Tongan prevents him from doing so multiple times with strikes. So Wrath trips up Meng, dragging him to the floor to brawl, slamming his head into the steel steps and railing, followed by a senton off the apron. Down the ring, Wrath with a turnbuckle smash, which leads to the Tongan just smashing his own head into the corner, because those are ineffective.
Yep.
He's Tongan. Come on, what are you thinking, Wrath?
Wrath then tries clotheslines and a shoulder tackle for a 2 count before attempting the meltdown. But Meng avoids and delivers a kick of fear.
There we go.
For a near fall. The Tongan keeps up the attack with chops, a backbreaker, strikes, and biting of the face, followed by a back suplex, clotheslines, and an atomic drop for a 2 count.
A kick of fear. I still can't let it go. That's such a dumb name.
Meng then telegraphs a move, so Wrath attempts a sunset flip, only for the Tongan to stay up and death grip down. But Wrath is moved and nails the death penalty for a near fall. Wrath then hits the meltdown, which is a pump handle power slam, for the pin and the win.
Whew.
It wasn't bad, but
No.
I hate it every time Meng loses. I mean, at least he's the older guy, I guess.
Lee Marshall's then with Billy Kidman in the WCW.com room. And last time we saw the Cruiserweight belt, Juventud Guerrera had it. He had just won it at Road Wild.
Mm-hmm.
Kidman would then win a month later on Nitro, so he's been champ for the past few weeks. And Steiner Lee asks how one prepares for an unknown opponent, with Billy responding that it is difficult, but at least he'll be fresh for the match. Marshall then asks who Kidman would prefer to face, Disco Inferno or Juventud Guerrera, with Billy answering he wants to wrestle Juvi, but he has a score to settle with Disco.
There you go, Billy.
And Lee wonders about how Disco Inferno is no more a cruiserweight than himself. Kidman agreeing, thinking that maybe he's using a rigged scale, but he'll fight him if he has to.
Disco is, as Juice Robinson put it once, a Snicker bar away from being a heavyweight. I think he said that about Shingo Takagi in like maybe the G1 years ago.
Probably.
And I think about it all the time. It's like this guy's a junior. He's a Snickers bar away from being a heavyweight.
But the interview continues, but we head back to the ring for our third match. Disco Inferno versus Juventud Guerrera to be the number 1 contender for the WCW Cruiserweight Championship
Tonight.
And Inferno grabs the early advantage with strikes and a side slam, but a head scissors takedown, a clothesline, and a couple attempts at a rocker driver changes the momentum. Juvi runs into a back elbow in a corner, only for Disco Inferno to then run into a monkey flip that sends him flying over the ropes. Guerrera follows out with another head scissors before they roll back in, where Inferno fires up with a Manhattan drop, clotheslines, body slam, and he heads to the second rope for an elbow drop that gets a 2 count. Disco Inferno grabs a chin lock to wear his opponent down, but Juvi escapes with elbows and ducks a clothesline before cradling up Inferno for a near fall. Guerrera then nails a spinning heel kick, only to charge into a back body drop that puts him on the apron. So he hot shots Inferno on the ropes and leaps back in with a springboard. But Disco Inferno has rolled to the floor to avoid. Juvi doesn't waste any time though, flying out of the ring with a slingshot crossbody that leaves both men down momentarily before they return to the ring where Guerrera delivers a Hurricanrana and attempts a Juvi driver, only for Inferno to float over and hotshot Guerrera on the ropes, followed by a swinging neckbreaker for a 2 count. Now Disco Inferno telegraphs a move, allowing Juvi to go for a sunset flip, but Inferno stays up and boogies down when Guerrera completes the move for a near fall. And Disco Inferno answers back with a giant swing, which even makes him dizzy, so he stumbles and falls right into a headbutt to Juvi's cojones. And Inferno continues with a vertical suplex and heads up top, only for Guerrera to hit the ropes to crotch Disco, before delivering a super Frankensteiner and a flying wheel kick for a 2 count.
There's Disco Balls? I guess it's already in his name, so it's not that clever.
Juvi is caught going for a wheelbarrow roll-up, but he turns it into a bulldog for a near fall, followed by attempting a poison rana, only for Inferno to block and nail a pile driver for the pin and the win. Some fun little cruiserweight action there.
Yeah, it was good. It was better than I expected because Disco's got a stupid gimmick. But yeah, there was only like one spot in the match where they like ran back a move or whatever, but they did it pretty smooth.
The Nitro Girls do some dancing in the ring as Tony discusses Codan's new music video, which isn't shown on the network.
Oh, no.
I know you guys are disappointed.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's really good.
I watched it. It's not.
Does he rap?
Yes.
Oh.
In Spanish?
Yes.
Half and half, probably.
Does he say his catchphrases?
He does.
That's what I figured. That was probably the chorus.
I don't remember exactly what the chorus, but it was pretty dumb.
Yeah.
And the Nitro Girls moves caused the commentators to lose their train of thought, with Heenan asking for a cold towel. When Scott Steiner comes out to the stage area with a mic in hand, saying he spent the last 30 days and 30 nights with a freak on his left, freak on the right, and one in a box.
It's a one in a box, yeah.
Freaks to the left.
It's a freak in a box.
Right, and I'm stuck in the middle with a box.
Just like, so she's dead?
Yeah, I don't.
I didn't get his.
We know that he's kind of good for this.
Yeah.
In a different way than the Warrior, because the Warriors are like so bizarre that they're almost, at least at peak Warrior time, where he's like almost sounds like a cult leader with the crazy shit that he's saying. But Scott Steiner, outside of being huge and at times one of the pound for pound like strongest guys in wrestling, is really famous for just really nonsensical promos.
Big Papa Pump continues that he's in town and he's ready to pound. Before talking about beating up his brother his whole life.
With a freak to the left of me and a freak to the right of me and a box right in front of me.
And he also beat up Buff Bagwell right in front of his mother.
Is Judy Bagwell that box?
Is she the box?
But if they want to make things interesting, Scotty suggests a tag match, even going as far as putting the tag belts on the line. And spoiler for here in a few minutes, he's not actually one of the champions.
Who is the champion?
We'll get to it.
Okay.
Yeah, this is what happens when you put a mic in front of him.
The Giant comes out to talk more trash about their opponents, which the Giant actually is one of the tag champions.
Okay.
When J.J. Dillon arrives to confirm the match, willing to grant the request on one condition. If the champions lose, Big Papa Pump must face Rick afterwards, with Scotty confidently agreeing to the terms. So we go to our fourth match. Fit Finlay.
Nice to see you, sir.
Versus Alex Wright.
Yeah.
And the story behind this match was that Alex doesn't like other European wrestlers calling themselves the best.
Sweet cheese.
So at first, he targeted British Bulldog, with no conclusive winner in either of their bouts. Wright would then turn his attention to Finlay, who had helped end the career of Alex's father. So Wright wanted revenge, getting the win with a handful of tights, only for Davey Boy to prevent him from running away afterwards, allowing Fit to avenge his loss. Finlay would also smack Bulldog for good measure, leading to Fit versus Davey Boy, which Alex would interfere in. So it literally felt like they were setting up a triple threat match, but Bulldog's injuries have, as we mentioned after the last show, his injuries have forced him out and having to get surgery for the back injury.
Damn, we were on our way to a potential European champion.
I mean, so basically the whole angle is we have 3 European wrestlers.
Yeah.
So let's just get Fit back in the game.
Yep. Because we haven't seen Finlay since Great American Bash 98, episode 308.
I know it's been a while. He's got a new haircut. Maybe. I don't know what haircut he had last time, but he looks a little different.
He was already blonde.
Yeah. Maybe it's just because I haven't seen him in so long.
Yeah.
So our competitors trade takedowns and uppercuts to start, with Wright dancing anytime he gets the advantage, only to keep up the attack with stomps, a front suplex onto the ropes, and a catapult of the throat into the bottom.
I get so mad when like fans chant boring when we're actually getting guys that are like doing doing like some catch style like traditional wrestling where I'm like, you know, in hog heaven. I'm watching a WCW show. I saw some wrestling. That puts the show a half a star up.
Yeah, but they want to see Goldberg breathe smoke.
I mean, that is the one thing you can say about Goldberg is that when the intro hits, it hits. But
and that's about it.
It's one of the few things you can say about Goldberg.
Fit fights back with a short arm clothesline and working the back, followed by tossing Alex to the floor, where Finlay hammers away on the back some more. Wright comes back with a body slam and an elbow drop, but Fit counters into a hot shot across the railing. And Alex returns to the ring with a sunset flip for a 2 count, only for Finlay to regain control with more uppercuts and forearms. He then telegraphs a back body drop, allowing Wright to hit a crossbody that takes them both outside. And Alex climbs to the top turnbuckle as they re-enter the squared circle, flying off with a missile dropkick, which Fit just sidesteps.
I love to see it.
Only to miss a charge into a corner, causing Finlay to crash shoulder first into the ring post. And Wright takes advantage with a neckbreaker for the pin and the win. Lee Marshall's now with Ernest Miller in the WCW.com room, where Stagger Lee says fans don't like that the cat calls himself the greatest, while Miller doesn't care what they think, because he's a 3-time karate champion.
And the real deal.
Marshall also accuses Ernest of stealing that nickname from other athletes, as with Cat saying if he ever gets his hands on them, he'll take them out. Do you guys know who the real deal was?
Holyfield.
That's right.
And Tyson the greatest, right?
Muhammad Ali's the greatest.
Oh. I got one right.
Yeah. Miller continues that he has an undefeated record against the locker room and 5-0 against fat fans, which Lee can't believe that Ernest even brags about.
I mean, I will say that it's not working, but he is trying, right? He's trying to do a thing.
He's trying something.
He doesn't seem nervous about what he's doing or saying. Like he's got some confidence, but it's just not very compelling. But who knows? Maybe Ernest the Cat Miller will be a WCW champion one day.
A champion or the champion?
Just A. I'm going to go with A.
He might be a champion at some point.
Maybe.
I don't remember.
But that's
asking a lot.
That's asking entirely too much.
So we go to our 5th match, Lodi versus Perry Saturn. And the story behind this match was that Lodi wouldn't accept that the flock had disbanded, feeling lost without Raven, and blaming Perry for ruining his life.
Quiet about it.
And Lodi stalls by putting his goggles and signs away, doing some stretching, which annoys Saturn, who then grabs a hammerlock to start, when Lodi sees the ring attendant taking his signs to the back, so he gives chase after them.
What's funny is that both of these guys are dressed like dudes that Rob Halford would hook up with. It's like we're gimmick versus gimmick. Rob Halford's a singer of Judas Priest.
Okay. There we go.
Tom of Finland style.
Lodi returns to Perry, nailing a face crusher and sweeping the leg. So Lodi rolls out again to regroup and holding up a sign that says, Lodi likes Texas.
Cool.
All right.
Alexis, Texas.
I mean, everyone likes Alexis, Texas.
I don't think she was in that profession at this time.
Saturn's had enough, as have the rest of us, dragging Lodi up to the apron by his hair and suplexing him into the ring. And Perry continues the punishment with chops, kicks, and a hard whip, causing Lodi to again roll out and start to leave to the back. So Saturn gives chase, with Lodi escaping back into the ring, taking advantage with double axe handles to the back of Perry, but a pair of suplexes and a sit-out slam, followed by a Death Valley driver by Perry, for the pin and the win.
Strong finish. I mean, these last 2 matches, I don't think they were bad, but they were fine for TV.
Yes.
These were, like, pretty okay TV matches.
They were, quick and easy, but not not pay-per-view caliber by any means.
I mean, at least they didn't outstay their welcome, but just checking in with everybody.
Yeah, could have subtracted those two and possibly made for a little more watchable show, but then you would have got to the ending quicker.
I mean, these are more watchable than some of the shit on the show.
Yeah.
Which is a problem.
The commentators discuss the remaining card, and the Brain wants a good family fight, even suggesting they invite Mom, Dad, and their sister. So Tony tells him to shut up. We then get a highlight from this past week's Nitro, where Buff Bagwell prevented Scott Steiner from whacking his brother with a chair, stealing away the weapon, only to swing it at Big Poppa Pump. So that's why we have this change of heart from Bagwell.
Yeah.
We also get some more Nitro girls dancing on the stage area before our 6th match. Disco Inferno versus Billy Kidman for the WCW Cruiserweight Championship.
Disco on double duty.
And our competitors exchange strikes, drop kicks, body slams, and drop toe holds before they transition to arm work shared between the two. Only for Inferno to telegraph his move, allowing Billy to yank his opponent down and charge in, but he gets back body dropped out to the apron. And Kidman slingshots back in for a head scissors takedown and stomps when Disco Inferno reverses a whip to drop toe hold Billy throat first onto the ropes, followed by a swinging neckbreaker for a 2 count. And another telegraph move leads to Kidman kicking Inferno to the ropes, where he charges in, only for Inferno to low bridge, causing Billy to crash out to the floor. And Disco Inferno gives chase for the two to fight when Kidman would land a tornado bulldog onto the concrete, rolling Inferno back inside, where he heads up top for a flying splash. But Disco moves in time, capitalizing with strikes, slams, and suplexes. Inferno then goes to the second rope and boogies down, before leaping off with an elbow drop, only for Billy to avoid and rally with a sit-out spinebuster and a power slam for a near fall. Kidman then misses a dropkick, allowing Disco Inferno to go for the pile driver, which Billy counters at first, but Inferno finally delivers, only to be too tired to make a cover at first, finally crawling over for a 2 count. And Disco Inferno goes for a vertical suplex, when Kidman floats over and goes for a tornado bulldog, but Inferno counters it into a neckbreaker and hits a gourd buster as well for a near fall. Inferno then attempts a powerbomb, pausing to do the Macarena first, with Billy flipping through to nail a sit-out facebuster, before heading up top to deliver the shooting star press for the pin and the win.
Woo.
I've been a little annoyed at the Nitro vibes of this show, but it seems like most everybody has their working boots on, so
I agree.
Yep.
I'm not mad at the talent at the moment.
So we go to our 7th match. Big Poppa Pump, Scott Steiner, and the Giant versus Rick Steiner and Buff Bagwell for the WCW World Tag Team Championships.
There's nothing I love more than Paul, the Giant, smoking a cigarette to the ring. It's just the funniest thing to me. He's so big, makes the cigarette look so small, and it's so trashy and weird. It's just a very funny thing for him to have done in his career. He's not the Sandman. It just looks so weird.
So the story behind this match was that Rick was tired of his brother and Buff's antics. So he called in Judy Bagwell to slap some sense into her son. Judy also attempted to slap Scott, only for him to grab her arm. And Big Poppa Pump would insult Judy, causing Buff to walk away and abandon Scott. Judy would then continue to be mocked, so Bagwell would attack Big Poppa Pump, but he was left lying. Buff would again try to gain revenge with a chair, only for Scott to avoid, followed by Bagwell just ripping his NWO shirt off, as we saw in the highlights earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So the last time we saw the tag belts was at Great American Bash 98, episode 308, when Sting beat the Giant. Remember that match?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
He would choose Kevin Nash to be his partner, but they would lose the titles back to the Giant and Scott Hall about a month later. And they've had them ever since. And this is where Tony explains NWO rules. They can switch members. It's basically the Freebird rule. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So that's why Big Poppa Pump is able to defend the titles here in this match.
Freebirds is a little different because there's less of them. And they're cheeky.
If you allow it for one group, you have to allow it for all of them.
And the NWO is just a bunch of guys.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's like the Ravens rule thing where, he's in a match, but he can have Saturn or Lodi or Hammer or somebody take his place.
Yeah. I think they had a contract meeting for that.
So the match gets going with Rick and Buff doing the old Steiner's pose after they enter the ring while the big man blows cigarette smoke in their face. And the Giant starts off with the dog-faced gremlin, controlling the match with strikes, an atomic drop, and a back suplex, before bringing Scott in to stomp away and tossing his brother to the outside, where the big man continues the punishment until Bagwell gathers his attention. Now back in the ring, Rick rallies with Steiner lines and a Manhattan drop when Buff demands a tag. So the dog-faced gremlin obliges, only for Bagwell to kick him in the chew toys.
And I was like getting excited for a minute. I was like, this is not starting off terrible considering that I don't believe it. I was waiting for it to drop and it dropped all too soon.
And Buff starts laughing and celebrating with the NWO, and then he just leaves to the back, allowing Big Poppa Pump and the Giant to work over Rick with low blows, chokes, body slams, strikes, and chops to send the dog-faced gremlin to the floor, where Scott slams his brother's head into the railing before rolling back in for a side Russian leg sweep for the pin. And no, the big man lifts Rick up to do more damage. Big Poppa Pump tags in to nail turnbuckle smashes when the dog-faced gremlin fires up, only for Scott to go low once more. Big Poppa Pump then holds Rick while the Giant climbs to the top for a missile dropkick, but the dog-faced gremlin moves in time, causing Scott to take the blow. And Rick capitalizes with Steiner lines to everybody, followed by a flying bulldog to the Giant for the pin. And the win. And new! Post-match, Big Poppa Pump is in pain on the outside, with the ref demanding he return to the ring to face his brother. Only for Scott to refuse because he believes the 3 count was too fast. The Giant apologizing to Big Poppa Pump, and the two men look to walk to the back. But the dog-faced gremlins having none of that, attacking Scott. So the big man chases Rick back into the ring where the Giant is fended off to start our 8th match. Rick Steiner versus Big Poppa Pump, Scott Steiner. And Rick goes right after Big Poppa Pump.
Why wouldn't he?
Slamming his head into the ring steps before bringing him into the ring where Scott begs off. But the dog-faced gremlin just works over his brother with strikes, Steiner lines, and a stampede into a corner. Ooh. Big Poppa Pump with a low blow changes the momentum, followed by suplexes, clotheslines, chokes, and a running straddle, when Rick would catch his brother for a power slam. The dog-faced gremlin then hits a belly-to-belly suplex when someone in a Bill Clinton mask jumps the railing. So security grabs them immediately, until the mystery man fights them off. All of a sudden, Stevie Ray is then at ringside, and he hands the impersonator a slapjack before he climbs into the ring to clock Rick and the ref, followed by unmasking to reveal Buff Bagwell.
Whoa.
You just walk to the back,
Dumb.
put a mask on.
The bell starts ringing while Scott makes a cover, and Buff grabs Charles Robinson's lifeless body to make the count for the pin. And no, the dog-faced gremlin kicks out.
Fuck yeah, he does.
Big Poppa Pump takes his brother to the top for a super Frankensteiner, with Bagwell grabbing the ref's hand again to make the count for the pin. And no, Rick again kicks out. Robinson's now tossed out of the ring, with Buff now teaming up with Scott for a double team clotheslines, only for the dog-faced gremlin to duck and Steiner line Big Poppa Pump down, followed by a hot shot to Bagwell onto the ropes. Rick climbs to the top and he comes off with a flying bulldog to Scott, with Nick Patrick sliding in to make the count for the pin and the win.
A lot of stuff happened here.
Yeah.
Some of it very stupid, but you know how I feel about Rick Steiner. So
we've
I'm
been-
all smiles over here.
We've been waiting many, many, many months for this match to happen, and it finally happened, but... shit.
All I'm saying is at least Rick pinned the son of a bitch.
Yes.
I mean,
After looking like a
yeah.
fucking idiot time and time again.
it took too long, but
Hey, we're there.
I never thought it was going to happen, so I felt good about this. Which is saying a lot, because, you could poke holes in this all damn day if you wanted.
Tony then sends us to a video package about the Outsiders with narration. With their arrival in May of 1996, the Outsiders, along with Hollywood Hulk Hogan, established one of the most powerful organizations in professional wrestling, the New World Order. The Outsiders, Hall and Nash, together, they held the WCW Tag Team Championships on 2 separate occasions. Closer than brothers, they were together by choice. And this year at Slamboree, Scott Hall, with one stroke, broke all ties with his best friend, Kevin Nash. As we see highlights of Scott clock his partner with the belt during that match, allowing the Giant to make the cover.
They still share the term NWO.
They do.
They have ties.
And we see an interview with Kevin talking about Hall, saying he's got a lot of personal problems. He wasn't in the right frame of mind. I know he's being manipulated
By alcohol.
But Scott answers back inside the ring that I let him down. I went through a little personal crisis and I lost a lot of money. Before we turn to Nash saying, this is business and it's about money. We then see Kevin attempt reconciliation, only for Hall to strike again, leading to Nash having these words. When we touched tonight, it was magic. I thought we had it, and for him to do what he did, just before just leaving Kevin shaking his head out of disbelief. And the narrator returns to wonder what could have possessed Scott to turn on his closest friend, with Hall reminding everyone that it's all about the Benjamins. And Nash finishes up by saying that Scott's actions have embarrassed him, so he wants to beat some sense into him, saying it's the last call, as he has lost his friend because he no longer recognizes Hall. I thought that was a pretty good package, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's unfortunately one of the most compelling stories WCW has attempted to tell in a while, because personal issues draw money.
Yep.
Even if this wasn't, the alcohol issue wasn't true, if it was sold this well, it would still work.
Yep.
It just makes it a little bit more sad and real, knowing that Scott Hall kind of drank himself to death over the course of years.
And then some.
So we go to our 9th match, Scott Hall versus Kevin Nash. And Hall comes out with a drink in hand, stumbling through his entrance, while Kevin just shakes his head at the scene when he arrives. Scott then throws the drink into Nash's eyes and attacks, with all signs of drunkenness gone. Stomping the big man out of the ring, where he runs Kevin into the ring post,
Posted.
before grabbing a mic to smack him over the head with. Hall also grabs a TV cord to choke his opponent, followed by tossing Nash into the railing. And the ref calls out the medical staff to check on Kevin, while Scott takes the mic to mock him, asking how it feels to see through foggy eyes, telling him that he's tired of listening to Kevin. But the big man makes his way into the ring, where Hall continues to work him over with strikes. Scott with a scoop slam and looks to attempt his finisher, only for Nash to shove him away. But Hall continues the punishment with mounted punches, leading to Kevin to just ask for more. And after a reversed whip, Nash nails a side slam, leaving both men down momentarily, only for the two competitors to exchange strikes, leading to Kevin setting up for the jackknife. But Scott bails outside to regroup. And Hall returns to the ring, where Nash works the back of his opponent with forearms and several running straddles, before hammering away with elbows and knees in a corner. And Kevin asks Scott if he wants another drink, while Hall can barely stand from the beating. So Nash delivers a big boot and 2 jackknives, calling it a double.
I mean, it's pretty good.
Only to not make a cover and just walk away to be counted out.
That's one way to do it.
Did you guys think when this match, when they said Nash and Hall, that it was going to be good or a shit show? Because I thought it was going to be a shit show, but this worked.
Yeah.
I think this worked really well. And then the finish, of course, is extra great because it adds more weight to it.
If he'd done the drunkenness thing that we saw him do with Conan, then yes, it would have been a shit show. But like literally as soon as Kevin's in the ring, he throws the drink in
his face and
his face and everything is like strictly business. I was like, okay, well we could have a match here.
Yeah.
And it's
well worked.
It's a well worked match.
With the story?
The story.
And all the intentions behind the moves and motivations were, I was like, and when it's over, you feel kind of bummed out. It was wrestling doing its job.
Nitro girls dance on the stage area in colored wigs this time. Ooh.
Yep, neon stripper wigs.
And the commentators mentioned Conan's music video again. I think this is actually where they played it.
Damn.
Originally on the show.
Damn.
I mean, I can play it for you if you really want me to.
Okay.
Maybe we'll get to it at some other point.
Arriba la raza.
So we go to our 10th match. Bret, the Hitman Hart, versus Sting for the WCW United States Heavyweight Championship. And the story behind this match was that Hart had fooled everyone, feigning remorse for siding with Hogan, leading to the Stinger and Bret helping each other when the NWO jumped them. Hollywood would challenge the Hitman to a match where it seemed Hart injured his knee, so Sting took his place and had Hogan in a Scorpion Deathlock, only for Bret to return to hit a DDT on the Stinger. So the champion came out first, guys. Foreshadowing. And this is also the first time we've seen this belt since Nitro on July 6, 1998, episode 311. When Goldberg vacated the title after winning Big Gold. Since then, the Hitman had defeated DDP to win the belt, but had lost and regained it also from Lex Luger. I guess there was a little mini Hitman-Luger feud that
in between a couple pay-per-views.
That was on Nitro.
A little throwback to 1994.
Yeah.
I find it really disturbing to see Sting and the Wolfpack guys come out to a rap song. It just feels wrong and weird. Not that there's anything wrong with rap music, obviously, but it's like Sting and rap music it's oil and water.
It's not that I have an issue with rap music. It's this specific
this is a bad song.
It reminds me of the
Much
Gangsters.
better than the Conan song.
Well, I'm sure.
At least they're not coming out with the Conan song.
But yeah,
I'm sure he pitched it.
It reminds me of the Gangsters from ECW. Just the beat to it and everything just makes my brain shut off.
That uninteresting era of rap music?
Yes.
Yeah.
So once both men have made their entrance, Hart stalls, forcing Sting to give chase down the walkway, dragging Bret back to the ring for mounted punches and a clothesline. More strikes, turnbuckle smashes, and hard whips into corners, followed by an atomic drop for a 2 count by the Stinger to keep up the attack. When the Hitman would fight back with headbutts, eye rakes, and a DDT for a near fall.
You know, one thing that I probably thought of this before, but it came to mind watching this is that there's guys that when they fight Bret Hart, they send him really hard chest first into the corner, but they never do that when they fight other people. It's just like one of those Bret things. Where he's like, all right, well, just don't chop me. Just send me really hard into the corner a few times.
It's his version of the flare flop.
Yeah. But it's just funny because it's like a move done to him, not a thing that he does like after getting beat up a little bit or whatever.
So Hart continues with chokes, an atomic drop, and a clothesline before a headbutt to the gut and a leg drop for a 2 count. And Bret begins to focus on the back of Sting with headbutts, strikes, and a chin lock, only for the Stinger to escape just to run into a knee lift. The Hitman hits a bulldog to take down his opponent, followed by chokes and attempting a suplex, but Sting counters it into a roll-up for a near fall. And Hart back on the offensive with a side Russian leg sweep before attempting a second rope dropkick, only for the Stinger to avoid and apply the Scorpion Deathlock.
Oh no.
But they're too close to the ropes, allowing Bret to reach out and grab them. Sting with stomps when a reversed whip sees the Hitman leapfrog his opponent, only to land wrong, hurting his knee.
Oh no.
And the Stinger attacks the wounded limb until the ref can back him away, which leads to Hart fetching a foreign object from his tights. And after a reversed whip that sends Sting hard into the corner, he bounces out with a clothesline to Bret when he sees the FO on the hand of his opponent.
Oh no.
So the Stinger takes it away and places it on his hand for a strike, when Billy Silverman, the ref, notices and stops the attack. And the distraction allows the Hitman to deliver a low blow to change the momentum, followed by a backbreaker and a second rope elbow drop for a 2 count. Hart tosses Sting to the floor to keep up the attack by running and dropping him onto the railing, before returning to the ring, where he meets the Stinger attempting to get back in with forearms across the chest. And the ref keeps backing up Bret, so when Silverman goes to let Sting know that he can get in the ring, a wild elbow takes the ref out.
Ref bump.
Followed by the Hitman nailing a leg drop as well onto the ref.
Double ref bump.
And the Stinger fires up with strikes, clotheslines, before charging into a corner. Hart gets his boots up to take down his opponent. And Bret makes his way to the top, only for Sting to meet him, crotching the Hitman, followed by a superplex right onto the ref as well.
Ref bump.
And everyone gets back to their feet, with Hart using the corner to help himself, only to receive a Stinger splash. But Sting overshoots, hitting his head on the ring post.
He was excited. He's a little taller than Bret.
And Bret slinks out of the ring and grabbing Sting's bat, whacking the Stinger multiple times before waking the ref and locking on the sharpshooter. And Silverman sees that Sting is out cold, so he calls for the stoppage and the win.
I mean, that was very fun. I like that a lot. Also, I think that as far as using a bat in a match goes, this might be some of the best bat work I've seen, because Bret Hart handled it well and it didn't look stupid, or as stupid as it can, because most of the time when people use something as violent or dangerous as a bat, it just comes off dumb, but he pulled it off well.
Post-match, the ref calls for medical aid, while you hear a cameraman, Jackie Crockett, he's still a cameraman for WC, he's yelling at a crew member for entering a shot. And the EMTs finally get the Stinger on a stretcher and rolling backstage, sending Sting to a 6-month vacation for personal issues.
Uh-oh. Did his nose get a little too sweet?
No, he actually, this is when he became a Christian.
Oh, because he was fucking around with his wife.
Very fine
And
as Jesus.
basically, him and his wife spent the time reconciling.
He spent too many months painting his face like the devil, and now he's on a Christian hiatus.
But I do think it's the last time we see him in the red face paint.
That's good.
Oh, really?
I don't really
I didn't
enjoy
realize it was
red
that
face
short.
Sting.
Especially with the goatee.
Yeah, the goatee I didn't like at all.
Oh yeah, that was bad.
It looks real dumb. But yeah, I thought this match was good. It was nice to see Sting do a stretcher job. It was nice to see Bret get to have a good match against somebody that matters.
Yeah.
This is one of those things where I'm like, hey, we've already had matches on here that are better than some of the best matches on whole WCW cards. Which isn't saying a lot, but it's saying something.
So we go to our 11th match. Hollywood Hogan versus The Warrior.
He's got his white boa Foreshadowing?
You guys ready for that WrestleMania 6
Oh, yeah.
rematch?
It's the rematch we've all been waiting for.
I mean, crowd is pretty hot. I'm not.
Are they hot?
Ah.
Because they're not cheering for the Warrior at all.
They sounded loud. I don't know.
So Tony sends us to a video package showing what the NWO did to Horace Hogan this past Monday on Nitro.
Who cares about Horace Hogan? Sorry. I'm so annoyed by this.
Followed by the Ultimate One running to the ring, where Hollywood calls him nuts, that he's out of his mind. But Hogan can kill the Warrior. And after Hollywood stalls at first, the bell finally rings, where the Ultimate One hammers down his opponent before Hogan can retaliate with strikes. And they begin trading arm ringers when Warrior nails a shoulder block to send Hollywood out to regroup. Returning to the ring to cheap shot the Ultimate One, using chokes and stomps to get him to his knees, where Hogan locks in a test of strength.
Or the dick sucking special.
Yep. Totally redoing that WrestleMania match.
You think Warrior's biggest inspiration for wrestling is the dog Beethoven?
Took me a second.
Yeah, it was a weird reference.
Warrior finally makes it back to his feet, only for Hollywood to counter into more arm ringers, followed by the two men crisscross running the ropes, with Hogan catching the Ultimate One with a body slam, but he no-sells and returns the favor. Warrior then clotheslines Hollywood to the floor, giving chase to run Hogan into the railing and ring post.
Posted.
Before returning to the ring, where Hollywood ducks a clothesline, followed by the Ultimate One dropping down to avoid a Hogan attempt, but it knocks the ref down instead.
Ref bomb.
Hollywood also drops a knee onto Nick Patrick.
Damn. Didn't they watch the last match?
Before calling out the troops, which brings the Giant to the ring to deliver a big boot to a held Warrior, only for the Ultimate One to avoid, causing Hogan to take the blow.
Eat the boot.
Warrior clotheslines the big man out of the ring before fending off Stevie Ray and Vincent as well.
I mean, that's tough work.
And he makes the cover, but the ref's still out. So the Ultimate goes to shake him awake, allowing Hogan to nail a back suplex, which gets a 2 count. And Hollywood keeps up the attack with knees, throat thrusts, and chokes, followed by taking his weight belt off to whip and choke with.
Oh, no.
I think that's why Cody Rhodes has a weight belt, so he can turn heel and whip people with it in the future.
And Patrick admonishes Hogan for the usage of the weapon, so he puts it back around his waist before raking the eyes and delivering a body slam. And Hollywood attempts several elbow drops, with Warrior rolling away for each one, before attempting a splash of his own, which Hogan avoids. The two start exchanging strikes once again when the Ultimate One steals away the weight belt to whip Hogan, which again brings the ire of the ref. And while they argue, Hollywood fumbles with flash paper and a lighter, attempting to throw a fireball, only for it to explode in his own hand and singeing his eyebrow.
I mean, there's a couple things here. Obviously, this is a big one, but when you wrap the leather belt around your fist, wouldn't it hurt less? You wrap it around your fist and you punch somebody with a big leather belt that's gonna it's not.
Yeah, you think you'd use the belt?
Yeah, you just whip him with it, or you punch
metal
him,
part,
or you punch him with the
stick the hook
it's a big
thing
piece
out
of,
and just stab it with
it's
it.
a big stiff piece of leather with that's just bouncy. But even the flash paper thing, horrific, but the camera is on there and you can see his little weed bag of flash paper and the lighter, and it's just all on camera. It's what were you guys doing in the truck? Why would you show this angle? It's just right in it, and it makes it look even stupider. Hogan, don't give him anything nuanced to do.
No. So Warrior heads up top for multiple flying axe handles, but Hogan answers back with a low blow and delivers a leg drop. Hollywood goes for a second one, only for the Ultimate One to avoid as Horace Hogan and Eric Bischoff arrive to ringside with a chair. And Warrior begins to warrior up, hitting clotheslines, calling for the press slam, when Eric would jump on the apron to distract the ref, allowing Horace to climb into the ring, clocking the Ultimate One across the back with the weapon, with Hollywood making the cover for the pin and the win.
Dog shit. Long dog shit.
Post-match, Heenan says blood is thicker than water, while Hogan tells Horace he passed the test and hugs his nephew.
So fucking stupid.
Horace then begins spraying lighter fluid on Warrior.
Whoa.
When Doug Dillinger jumps in the ring to stop this nonsense. And Bischoff reminds Dillinger who he works for before the NWO leave to the back. As the Brain says, we averted a tragedy.
I mean, yeah, you work for a guy who thinks it's okay to burn people alive. What are you talking about? Committing a crime. The thing is I would feel bad for Warrior if he ever gave me a reason to feel bad for him.
He almost got burned.
He also didn't wrestle. I don't know what that was. He was never good, but he looked about as bad here as he ever has.
But look at that physique. Check out that physique.
Sure.
Look at the body on Warrior. I think I heard Tony say that about 15 times during this match. Check out that physique.
Well, Tony is basically Woody from Toy Story. The string only has so many sayings.
There's a snake in his boot.
There's this damn steak in his damn boot.
So the planned finish for this match was the fireball. Everything after that, I guess, was called on the fly.
Oh, God.
Even the Horace stuff?
Yeah. I mean,
no wonder it was so stupid.
I feel like Horace probably was supposed to be part of the finish, but I don't know how they go from fireball to Horace coming out without, but if that was the case, that Horace was an on-the-fly booking for the end of this match, it makes Ultimate Warrior, or the Ultimate One, look very, very weak because he literally got pinned due to a one chair shot
to the back
from Horace Hogan. But on the bright side, this is the last time we're going to see the Warrior, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of knew that, felt that going in. I was like, oh, well, Hogan's not going to let him beat him.
It's been a run, Jim.
This is just Hogan being like, you know what, guys, you want to spend some money so I can pin this guy that I don't like from years ago. So this guy from years ago, just kind of like put dirt on the corpse of the Warrior because I'm a sick man named Terry Bollea.
So we go to our 12th match. Diamond Dallas Page versus Goldberg for the WCW World Heavyweight Championship. And Michael Buffer makes the announcement, so let's get ready to have the pay-per-view feed cut off right here.
Yeah.
So I ask you, gentlemen, what are your overall thoughts? I'm just kidding. But they really did run out of time, and they got cut off.
Because they had to call those last couple minutes of the Warrior Hogan match.
And because this match, they tried to have 12 matches on the show for no reason.
It's because they
have
impromptu Jericho match.
I mean, even though they were fine matches in their own end, there's 3 matches that are obvious matches that do not need to be on pay-per-view.
Absolutely.
We have the Nitro Girl stuff. We had the Conan music video. There's all these things.
We had the Steiner tag team match so we could get the Steiner one-on-one match that we were just supposed to have to begin with in the first place.
And they played this on Nitro, right?
So then the next night, they actually do show the main event on Nitro.
So I remember watching it.
People were pissed.
And that Nitro, because we won't cover it, so I'll just tell you here, that's the last Nitro that ever won a ratings battle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Jump the shark.
Yeah. On the network, they actually do include the match. We don't have to watch the Nitro to get it, so we'll cover it right here. Bill walks to the ring with a security detail after headbutting the locker room door open to give himself a concussion.
Smart.
I mean, I will say that the Goldberg's music is great, and this is the best of the Goldberg entrances we've seen. It looks the coolest and is the most intense, but the concussion thing, shouldn't he learned the first time?
I mean,
because I believe this happens further along
his
career.
music is great and all,
Happens
but
multiple times.
It reminds me of a former wrestler named Pat Tanaka that I believe walked out to the same music long before Goldberg was even a twinkle in anybody's eye.
But Goldberg has that.
Tanaka.
Goldberg
Yeah,
has
see,
that
you can hear it
entrance
now.
and the intensity and that stupid thing he does with his arm. He looks pretty cool.
Yeah,
I understand why people loved him back then, even though I wasn't a Goldberg guy as a kid.
You inhale enough sparklers, you
Looked pretty awesome.
You get used to it after a while.
Yeah.
So the two men stare each other down in the middle of the ring when Goldberg would use his power advantage to just shove DDP away several times before they lock up and tumble out of the ring. Our competitors return where Bill takes down Page, who then goes to sweep the leg, only for Goldberg to flip over it at first, but he gets taken down on the second attempt.
It was kind of fun. Goldberg did something. Don't we like when Goldberg does a thing that isn't the things he always does?
So back to his feet, Bill nails a fireman's carry takedown and works a cross armbreaker, forcing DDP to make the ropes. And Goldberg's phased by a jawbreaker and strikes, with Page attempting his finisher, only for Bill to shove DDP out of the ring to avoid. And after returning, the fight's taken to the mat, but Goldberg powers out of a chinlock and shoulder blocks Page down to the floor, only to hotshot Bill as he tries to get back in the ring. DDP then takes advantage to deliver a swinging neckbreaker, a hard whip into a corner, and a side Russian leg sweep for a 2 count. And Page looks to wear down his opponent with a front face lock, when Goldberg powers out with knees, strikes, and a suplex, followed by a side slam for a near fall. And Bill goes for another armbreaker, with DDP again making the ropes, for Page hits a head scissors takedown out of nowhere. But Goldberg's right back up with a thrust kick, sending DDP into a corner. And Bill charges in, only for Page to avoid, causing Goldberg to hit his shoulder on the ring post. So DDP capitalizes with a flying clothesline and a DDT for a 2 count. And Page calls for the finish, only for Bill to recover to nail a spear before attempting the jackhammer. But his shoulder is too hurt.
Oh no, Bill.
Which allows DDP to counter into the Diamond Cutter, with Page crawling on top of Bill for the pin.
Crowd goes wild.
No! Goldberg kicks out. And DDP goes for a vertical suplex, only for Goldberg to reverse it into the jackhammer for the pin and the win. Post-match, Tenay yells out 155-0. I got more like 141 and 3-0 contests if you include house shows and dark matches, but who's counting?
Well, sounds like you are. Did you guys see the sign that said "Getting Oldberg"? I thought that was a little cute and clever.
It's like a modern day look into the history of wrestling.
And Tony calls it a remarkable match, saying he loves the sport. And Bill helps Page to his feet, followed by them shaking hands, and DDP even raises Goldberg's arm in victory before leaving. And Schiavone claims that this is what it's all about, not sending someone to the hospital before saying his goodbyes, and we fade to black. So I ask you, gentlemen, what are your overall thoughts?
Your turn, Matt. How about you? How about you let us know?
1998. Oh, you're going to let me go first this week?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I actually enjoy this show quite a bit, even with a few matches that don't need to be here, which led to the poor time management and refunds to angry viewers. But the countdown is on for no more Hogan matches, because his bullshit just wears me out.
Yep.
Uh-huh. I feel similar. This is better than expected. It mostly suffers from there being too much on the show. Hogan is unavoidable at this point, so we just kind of dust off my shoulder and pray that it doesn't go too long. But if this show was 30 minutes shorter, it might be the best Havoc match for match that we've watched, and it still probably is.
I was fixing to say,
and
I
it
think
still
even
probably
with
is.
this Hogan Warrior match, I think this is possibly the best Havoc we've watched.
Mm-hmm.
Shane?
I'm a little different than you two. I enjoyed the first 3/4 of the show, but the last quarter of it just it didn't it didn't do anything for me.
You didn't like DDP and Goldberg?
I mean, I was one who watched it back in the day, and I was one of the angry people that were pissed off that we got cheated out of a main event. But I was never a Goldberg person.
I also think this is Goldberg's best match.
I like this match a lot, and I think it kind of stinks because they're both faces, but they did the right thing by DDP in his loss. And
I mean, I almost thought about saying the 2 words for the main event.
I mean, I like it a lot. I did not think I was going to like it. I thought Goldberg was going to... I mean, I'd seen this, but it had been so long. But I thought that... I was like, damn, they're just going to throw DDP in the... They're just going to throw dirt on him. And they didn't throw dirt on him.
No.
Not necessarily, but, I mean, he lost the match to a jackknife.
Everybody loses to the jackknife.
After a spear.
Well, he hit the spear earlier in the match.
Well, earlier in the match, but you got to hit it and then get the jackknife, so you got the full wind knocked out of you and then you're smashed in.
Yeah.
It's a hammer, not a knife.
Hammer, not a knife. You get it.
Anywho, yeah, I enjoyed the first part of the show more than I enjoyed the last. But that's typically how it is for me with WCW anymore. Not a terrible show, and I agree that this is one of the better Havocs that we've watched, but yeah.
For me, it mostly suffers from length.
Yeah.
I mean, that is the biggest issue with it. But
And it's like I said, some of those matches that are on the show might not be like quote unquote pay-per-view quality matches, but they're well worked and the guys are doing the most they can with the time they have. So I'm not mad at them. I'm mad at why did this need to be here?
That's what we say a lot of times about WCW.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Because if you cut out those matches, you would have hit your time, and you still would have had a good show.
Yeah.
The show would not have suffered from that at all. We can't get rid of Horier and Wogan. We can't get rid of these guys, so we know we're gonna have to suffer through it. But if that's the worst thing we're gonna get on a show, like, that's just a pill you're gonna swallow.
Yeah.
So you know it before you walk in.
Good. Where's the smart marks at? There. All right. Fuck you.
I think it's time we smark it up. So what are some of the best moments of this show?
I love that Bret pulled out a foreign object and got it taken away and still made the win. Because it's those things like that where you're like, all right, well, he's fucked. Sting's going to win. So they swerved me to the point where I was like, oh, I just assumed that at that point I was like, well, there goes everything for Bret. And granted, he hasn't been booked well at all. So it just felt good to see a guy like get a big win in a company that never really did right by him. Believe it or not, I enjoyed the Steiner brother thing that was very long. But I think that's mostly because Rick finally got the win.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
And the crowd was behind him, and it just made me feel good. Silly as the Buff Bagwell thing was, Rick still didn't look like an idiot at the end because he pulled it out.
I mean, technically, I will give them props for Bagwell doing what he did as soon as he stepped into the ring. There's been so many times we've watched a match where a swerve happens, and it happens like 10 minutes into the match, and it's like, why did you fight for the last 10 minutes on the side of good, air quotes, on the side of good, to then just not? If you're going to turn, just turn right then and there. So I was okay with the Buff stuff.
No, it was mostly the silly mask thing. It's like,
I mean, the silly mask thing was a little... Actually, Stevie Ray coming out and handing him a slapjack was the part that I went, okay, wait, this is a little overbooked.
They didn't want Stevie to get hit.
I mean,
because
Stevie
he's
Ray
going to
doesn't
get hit again later.
Just don't come out, Stevie Ray.
Mm-hmm.
Have the slapjack already.
Have it in your little blazer
pocket.
pocket.
It's not like you didn't have a place to put it.
I do. I mentioned it while we were covering the show. The Outsiders video package was very good.
The match was good.
And then the match itself was much better than I think anybody's expectations would ever. It told the story correctly.
It had weight.
It had the drama.
Yeah, when
the emotion.
Nash walked out of the ring, It had the emotional weight that good wrestling stories should have, and we don't see enough. And to see it happen in WCW, surprise of the night, probably.
I enjoyed Jericho's little shit heel antics. Just his.
I mean,
his
this
attitude.
might be one of Raven's best worked matches that we've seen in WCW.
Yeah,
Because it's not Raven's rules.
You got forced
I mean,
to
it
do
wasn't completely overbooked. It's more because that was always the thing with Raven's rules matches, that they were just overbooked.
Yeah, there's just too much junk going on. And here we got a wrestling match that it was a good curtain jerker.
And while yes, Meng, Lodi, Saturn, and Finlay, Wright did not need to be on this show, we can all agree with that.
They all showed up and earned their paycheck.
But all three matches, all 6 men showed up and put a good show on.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I have no issues with the matches at all. My issue is that the show was 2 hours and 33 minutes, and you know what? I bet in hindsight, they really wish that they didn't have those matches on the show either, because that would have saved them.
I mean, it would have saved them at least 20 minutes.
And probably a couple $1 million.
Yeah, because they had to do quite a few
refunds. I think they had to do enough refunds that they didn't make money on this show.
Crazy. And the thing is if that went on as it should have, it would have been a good show that would have had people hyped for Nitro.
Yeah.
Like I said, we've talked about how, like, what's going on? Who cares? And there's stuff here to sink your teeth into, but then you just basically threw the money in the trash by poor management.
I want to give flowers to Disco for working a couple times in the show when both matches were entertaining.
I would say that they're the most I've cared about Disco Inferno matches to this point, probably.
And I don't know if you guys, because we've seen Kidman be around quite a bit.
Yeah.
This is actually our first Kidman match.
That's crazy.
That's true.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if he got to show everything that he's all about in that match.
But we got to see that he is capable and interesting.
Yeah, exactly.
Who doesn't love a good shooting star press?
I know I love it.
Same.
Well, how about most disappointing?
Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Whatever it is with the Rick Steiner, Buff Bagwell. I don't like Scott now, so I'm going to be on your side only so I can swerve. I like how they did it, but it's like, all right, come on already. It's just, one guy can't be that dumb to fall for the same shit time and time again.
Yeah, I mean,
the ref stuff in back-to-back matches was
so obvious. So like, come on.
Like, I thought it was funny in Hart and Sting.
Yeah.
And then they did it in the next. And I mean, yes, it is Hogan, so like I'm already at okay, you have to do something to like at least pull me into this match, and then just to do something that just happened
And
in
happened
the previous match
that happened
in a much better way.
In a good match that was compelling.
Though I will say, I mean, in the end, knowing the reason why they did the baseball bat and the stretcher job, like I'm okay with. Probably if I had watched this match then, I don't know if I would have liked it as much. I think I think the context helped me like it a little bit more.
I didn't know the context, and I liked it quite a bit, but the context...
Because, I mean, it definitely didn't... When I think of a Bret Hart and a Sting match, I don't know if this is what I see. Like, I feel like they... Like, bringing out the FOs, having the ref bumps... Using the baseball bat, like
Bret's a heel.
I understand.
Yeah.
But I mean, he didn't use all those things when he was a heel champion in WWF.
Yeah,
he just out wrestled everyone.
This is what big boys play.
Big boys that's the thing. He just out wrestled everyone.
Yeah. And it was a weird flavor to put into the.
So like
to sprinkle on.
I don't know
Bret
if
Hart.
So like I said, I'm not disappointed, but I could definitely see they could have a better match.
Yeah, for sure. But we got to get that stretcher job.
Still on that match. We're on disappointing, right?
Yep.
That goatee.
The goatee was bad.
It's really bad.
Like for For as handsome of a guy as old Sting / Steve Borden is, the goatee with the red paint, it just, I mean, maybe he went, and found his Christian side and whatnot, but he just straight up looked like he was wrestling as the devil in this match. And
it's also 1998.
But like literally seeing that and then knowing what he looks like right now with the gray goatee, that he literally looks like Big Papa Pump with in the face paint. I'm just like, what are you thinking, sir? Like it's just bad.
Yeah, he's lost in the moment.
It's just an old man doing old man things, but
like that Karen that finds the hairstyle that they stick with forever. You know, he's lost in
the goatee.
The moment, yeah. The soul patch is never gonna go away.
I mean, the worst match on the show is what everybody thought the worst match on the show was gonna be, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah,
it's like
I'm not like that's the thing is like I can't even bring it up as disappointing because it was exactly what I expected it to be.
Yeah, boo boo.
It was going to call back to WrestleMania 6. It was going to be overbooked,
poorly worked,
and then they fuck up during the match.
Yeah, and
supposedly have to do a finish on the fly, which was probably actually the better finish than the fireball, but still not good.
Yeah, even if you subtract the fireball, it doesn't make the match
fireball
good.
Happens and Warrior gets pinned that way. He just still, that's just it. He's done. Nothing else.
Also, if your face was burned and somebody jumped on top of you, wouldn't you just be flailing?
You'd think so.
It wouldn't really incapacitate you to the point where somebody would pin you. You'd be probably wriggling around in pain.
How about best performer of the night?
I mean, maybe Kevin Nash?
He did get emotional.
That's not a bad shout.
I mean, as far as that's the most compelling angle on the show, and he was the one that got the last word. But I mean, Scott did a great job as well. Mm-hmm. But the most impactful moment of that story is Kevin Nash leaving instead of choosing to pin Scott.
I mean,
that's why I would give him the edge.
I could also see it being DDP because he helped set up that match, and
it was great.
Mm-hmm. Like I said, I'm like, it may show up on our short list.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, I could give it to DDP. I could give it to Kevin Nash. I don't know if there's anyone else on the show that I might give it to. I really liked Bret and Sting, but like you said, that it was really good, but it didn't have the weight, importance, or it's not going to stick in your mind as far as a moment as much as those two.
I mean, we gotta, as you shouted out just a little bit ago, we gotta throw Disco some flowers too, because he had 2 decent matches on one show.
It was, like I said, the most I've ever cared about Disco Inferno.
Yep.
Or the most I've ever enjoyed Disco Inferno.
And how about most surprising?
Alex Wright had all this history that they were building up and storyline and whatnot with him getting vengeance or seeking vengeance for Finlay ending his dad's career and taking out all these European wrestlers, and I didn't know he had it in him. I just thought he was a dancing fool.
For me, the surprise was that it had 12 matches because I forgot about how it got cut off, and it surprised me that what were they thinking? How did they think they were going to get all of this on here? When I loaded it up on the Peacock or whatever, you see the runtime because the little ticker underneath it, and I was like, you kidding me? How could it be this long? Don't they only get don't you pay for X amount of pay-per-view time? Because I'd forgot about all that, but then when you brought that up, I remember watching Nitro because of that, because I was a Raw guy, but I would flip in between channels, and I came in on Raw and was never I was like, oh well, DDP's cool, and that was kind of my opinion of basically this era where I recently started watching Raw regularly. I was like, oh, I like DDP, and then a lot of these guys I didn't know who they were. I knew who Sting was, and all that, and I knew who Goldberg was, and blah blah blah. But it's just so crazy that they shot themselves in the foot that hard. It shouldn't be. It's not shocking. It's not shocking, but it is surprising that you could do something. I guess It's a combination. It's like, oh, we really have something going, and then you're not able to understand why it's working, and just like you're just eating your own shit, or like without any correct criticism or somebody that understands why it's working, helping you continue. There's a reason they lost the war. It was just their loss was earned. So is probably the easiest way to put it.
I can't remember if you said anything or not.
I mean, Rick finally got his win over Scott. I just really didn't think that was going to happen. So that filled me with joy. Bret Hart winning a match filled me with joy.
But Raven can have one of his better matches if you just get rid of all the bullshit that he typically throws out there.
If he just has to be a guy that has to wrestle without like a gang of other sad idiots.
It's one thing if it's the Raven effect, the Raven's rules, all that stuff, every now and then. But when it's every single fucking match, it's just...
Bring me back Scotty Flamingo.
Yeah, I hate the character of Raven because he typically is just boring as shit because I don't care about any of that extra shit. I just want to see him wrestle because I know he can actually do shit that's good. And
if you're going to be counterculture, I don't think sad is the way to go as far as a quote-unquote sport is going. Like, it's like nobody cares if you're sad. If it's a fight, you need to just fight.
What about me?
Yeah. Nobody likes a
Raven.
Nobody likes a "What about me" guy.
Nope.
Save it for a song.
Making their way to the ring.
It's trivia time.
Uh-oh.
This week, the category is Music of the Mat.
It's my music.
Break it down.
I like music.
I'll play you a song.
It's not going to be like an ECW song that we've never heard because we don't get the songs on the channel. Maybe not.
We've had
We'll
plenty
have
of
to find out.
downloads.
I guess we've had those before, where you played a song and I'm like, oh, this is X band.
And there's ones that we've heard clear as day, and it's like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah, I guess there is because sometimes we've watched some bootleg
Yes.
ECW shows.
So I'm going to play the song. You name the wrestler for 3 points. Michael?
Mikey Whipwreck.
That is correct. Little Beck.
Yeah.
Loser.
Spray paint the vegetables. Right? That's one of the lines.
I can't remember.
To me, it's just word salad.
Yeah.
I think that's the one line I remember outside of the chorus.
Time is a piece of wax.
Oh, yep. Oh.
Choking on the splinter.
Yep.
Next week, November to Remember, 1998.
Will we remember or will we want to forget?
Yeah. Will it be good enough to occupy space in our brain after this conversation?
Will we get the complete show without running over and having to make up for it on Hardcore TV? All these questions and more will be answered next time.
Same History Channel, same History Time.
That's right.
Music from this week's show is Gothic City by Bruce Chianese and Jeff Levin. And Goldberg won our main event, so we'll play Invasion by Christian Poulet and Yanve Rigo.
Mm-hmm.
And if you like this episode or any of our other ones, please go out there, rate and review us on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you find your podcast at.
Where do you find your podcast at?
I'm an Overcast guy.
I don't know what mine's called. It's on my phone.
Mine's on Apple Podcasts, I believe. That's that the typical thing that's on iPhones?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's where I get mine. I'm not so much a YouTuber, but maybe I need to just so I can hit that like button and whatnot.
That's right. If you're watching, listening on YouTube, make sure you hit the subscribe button, like the video, ring the bell for notification.
If you're watching,
Leave a comment.
which one of us looks best?
Is it the black W, the H, or the X?
There you go.
And if you have any questions, comments, concerns,
We're going to Nolans next, y'all.
that's right.
We're skipping over Philly and we're going all the way down to the deep south. So give me some ideas. This is going to be something totally different.
Blacken the shrimp. Boil the crawfish.
That's right.
Fry the bread.
Make the boys po. Or
Make
something.
the boys po.
I don't know. That's all I got.
It's funny.
Give me some ideas of what the hell. What can I make that's gonna make you remember November?
And you can send any of those things to our email at wrestlinghistoryx@gmail.com or find us on X at WrestlingHistoX. That's Wrestling HISTO.
X.
We'll talk to you next week.
Laters. Goldberg. Laters.